Welcome to this new video of services in ROS2. In this video, we will do step-by-step programming of a calculator example. And the idea is that we will have two numbers that will be added to get a result. So we will have a client. That client will send any two numbers that must be integers, and the server will respond to it with its result. The schematic or the workflow of this project is that the client, it sends information or it requests information by sending something. For example, I gave you an example of a restaurant. When a client goes to restaurants and he requests for a pizza, and then the restaurant gives him the pizza. So same logic is applied over here. Client will send the numbers. A is equal to 5, B is equal to 7, and it will be sent to the server. Server will perform the addition and give back the result to the client. So without wasting our time, let's do and program this step by step, line by line. We will do all the coding for it. Before we do step by step programming, I want to show you the results this project that we will do for custom ROS services. So we will create executables. So we will have ROS2 package. It will have some executables, and the package name will be calculator service. So we will create this calculator service, and it will have executables. So executable should be a client and a server. That is the main concept behind custom services, right? Now, after that, once we have these executables, we will run calculator service, and let's run the client first. So you will see client is waiting for the service. For example, you go to a restaurant and you want to order a pizza, but there is nobody on the counter. So it is waiting for the server there, or maybe the restaurant is closed or something like that. So you will be waiting outside that restaurant, right? So at this moment, client is actually waiting for the server. So let's run the server as well. So ROS2 calculator service. This package we will create later on, we will see in the video. And then we will have calculator server. So this will be the Python module. Now, as soon as the shop will open, you will see the result. So what happened here is that when this information 17 and 59, this was sent by the client to the server. Server performed this addition and got this result of 76. So now you will see client will have this result of 76. So if we go all the way down over here, so you can see it stopped and it got the result. So think of that pizza example I have been telling you again and again. You request for pizza, and then the owner or that guy working there, he responds to your request. So this is the basic concept behind this project, and we will do step-by-step programming. You will learn ROS2 services in this video. If you follow all the steps and all the codes that I will use in this video, you will have similar results. Creating custom services and custom messages, both of them similar. They have different concepts. So the first step, similar to the custom messages, is that we will create the package for custom services. So how do we create the package? Before that, what we need to do is we need to access the folder where we install the packages. So we will go inside that folder, and you will see we have a lot of packages installed over here. You may have no packages here, or you may have a lot more than the packages I have. The idea is that all the packages must be installed in this src folder. Now, the first step is to install the interface package for our services. So how do we install the package for interfaces? So it's a simple command in ROS2 package create. Okay. After that, we need to define the build type, and build type would be AMENT make, and then at the end we will have to name the interface. So since we are doing the addition project, I will call it as a calculator interface. calculator interface, or let's call it interfaces, if for example in the future I want to add other items in this package. So after I press enter, it will create my calculator interfaces package. In order to see it, I will write OS again, and it will show me that the calculator interfaces package has been installed. Next step is to access this folder, or you can say package, calculator interfaces, and see what do we have inside this package. So it will show us that we have cmake lists.txt package XML. These files in white, they are very important for us. So we will be doing some changes in these and also creating our custom services. And then we have src folder over here. Next step is to create another folder that we want to use for our services. So how do we create another folder inside this package? So make directory, so mkdir srv. So it will create this srv folder for us. Let's see if it is created. So I will write ls again and press enter. So you can see that it has been created. Next, what we need to do is that we need to access this folder and see what do we have inside this folder, because inside this folder we will be creating our custom service. So I have accessed this folder using cd srv, and then let's see what do we have inside this folder. So it is empty because it showed me nothing. Now next step is to create the custom service for this edition project. So how do we create any file or any folder, any file in ROS2? So the command is nano. After that, we need to name it. So let's name it as add two integers. So I will keep it short. So add two ints. And after that, it is very important to write the extension of the file. Previously, if you saw my previous videos, we used to write .py. So those were Python extensions. We also created custom messages, and then we added its own extension. So now we are talking about services. So the extension for that is .srv, and this is very important. We must add this extension whenever we use this nano command. So when I press enter, it will create a file with this name and this extension. So the name will be add two ints. You can name it anything you want, whatever you feel comfortable with. I am following just this general name because we are adding two integers. So add two ints.srv. When I press enter, you will see that it will create our file add two ints.srv. Now the next step is that inside this folder, I need to define the format of number. Int 64, let's call it A, because we don't know what numbers will be sent by the clients. We'll just name it general numbers. So A, B, C, D, as many as you want. For now, we are doing addition of two numbers. So we will just name two integers 64 A. And after that, we will add three dashes, and then the result will also be an integer, right? So int, let's call it as. Now you may have noticed that I added these three dashes. These are very important because the above one shows the request sent by the client. The below one, it shows the response of the server. So adding these dashes are very important. Don't forget that. Once we have added these information in this custom file that we created for services, what we need to do is that we need to save it. So how do we save it? Control+O, then you have to press enter and then Control X. It will close the file. In case you want to double check it and you want to see if it has been saved correctly, so you can print that file over here using cat command. Add to ints.srv. So it will print the information in this file in this window, so we can see it has been done correctly. Now the next step is that we will create, but we will have to change some information in these files. These files are pre-coded for us when we created the package, but we need to add some information and some commands to it. So how do we need to do that? Is that we need to access this folder first. So these files actually exist in calculator interfaces. Remember that we created custom service inside this folder. We need to be in this folder. So if you want to go back one folder, so cd minus, or you can say dash, when you press enter, so you will be going back to the previous folder. To confirm it, we will write ls and we will see that we have these files over here. Now I can print this file. It will show me the code it will have, but I also want to edit this package file and cmake lists.txt. So I told you with nano command, we can actually create the file and also edit it. So I will write nano package. Be careful with the spellings and the extension names, okay? So nano package.xml, you will see that we already have commands written over. Don't worry about that. At this moment, we don't have to do a lot of stuff over here. We just have to add 3 commands over here. The first one is we have to add this build. Let me add this hash comments. We can see what did we add between here. So what we need to do here is that build to same command as up there before this depend, okay? And then we have to tell it ROS IDL default generator and close it. How do we close it? Simply by same command. Build to be careful with spellings, okay? I'm just typing it slowly so we don't make any mistakes. So we add this command first of all. Then the next command is execution or execute. So it should also depend on ROS IDL default runtime. Okay. At runtime, this should execute this code. This is just like telling this package.xml that we have created our custom service. And the third one is that even if you don't remember this command, no problem, because they are general commands. You can simply copy paste it from here. ROS IDL interface. Then hope that I have not made any mistake. In case if we have made any mistake, we will see at the end. And the mistake will most likely be of spellings. If you notice I make any spelling mistakes, you should follow the correct spellings. So conceptually, what happens here is that this ROS IDL generator, this one, this actually builds the custom service that we created. And then after that, this command, this default runtime, this is used, like use the generated interface at runtime. So that whatever is generated, it is used at the runtime. And then this package contains ROS interfaces. So this concept is actually same as that did in the custom. Once we add these 3 lines, after that we have to save it and close it. So how to save it? Control O, enter, and Control X. That's it. Next, what we need to do is that we also need to edit the cmake lists.txt. I told you when we created this package and these texts were written in white, or the files that are written in white, we need to make some changes to that. So how do we do that? It is very easy. Simply open this. So be careful with this spelling because C is capital, M is capital, and then L is capital. Okay, so lists. If I make a mistake, it will give me an error straight away. But fortunately, no error here. Now, this is also pre-coded. So you can already see here that they are asking us to uncomment the following section in order to fill in whatever we want to write for ourselves. So these are comments, so they are not read by the code. So I will leave it as it is. If you want to delete it, no problem. And add, no problem. And I want to keep it as it is. So after that, I will add my own package. Recall, we added this command, was ideal, called generators in the previous file. And this should be required. Okay. Next is to tell ROS2 which service we created. So this is straightforward here for us. So ROS IDL generate spaces, div name, div name, tell it. We created a service folder, and inside that service folder we have add to ins.srb, right? That's it. We have added this two commands over here. The first one is to tell it that the default generator is required, and in the second command we have to tell which custom service do we want to call for this project. So if we have other, for example, if we create another custom service that is for difference or subtraction, we will add that command over here. At the moment we are working on addition, so that's why we will add this service over here. So the logic is CMake list this file. This will find ROS IDL, and then that ROS IDL will find this custom service, and then it will create the code for Python or C++ language. You don't have to get confused in this. Just remember that you have to add these two commands in this file and three commands in the package.xml. Once we have done this, what we need to do is that we need to save it. So Control O, Enter, Control X. So this part is done. Now we want to build this and finalize this package. So what we need to do is that we need to go back to our main folder. Then I explained this previously in the beginning of these lectures. You can go and watch that. What does this colcon means? But we want to build this. So colcon build packages select. Now this is important, adding packages select. If I don't write this and directly write calculator interfaces, if I directly write this calculator interfaces without packages select, what will happen is that it will build all the packages that we have. It might take a lot of time. It is always recommended to write this package select. Sorry, you see, I just realized that there is a spelling mistake. So it should be packages select. Okay, so this will select only this package that we created just now and build it instead of recreating all the previous packages that we don't need. So once we write this command, after that we press enter, and if there is no mistake, it should be built quickly without any issues. So you can see here one package finished. If I had not written this packages select, it would have built all the packages, and if I have like, I don't know, maybe 12 packages, so it would have shown me here summary 12 packages finished. Okay, so just to save our time, it is recommended to add this part in the code so it can target only that package. So package is created, then we need to install setup. It has installed the setup for us. Now we want to check whether ROS recognized our services or not, because we have done a lot of coding so far. Not a lot of, we just created this custom services, added few commands in package XML and CMake list. So I want to be sure at this point whether ROS has recognized our services or not. So I will simply write ROS2 interface, because that is what we. So interfaces, this is the package we installed. Inside that package, we created SRV and we created this custom message. So we will see if it is working or not. So we can see that this command is showing us that custom services is created and it is working fine. Now, the main part of this code, after creating custom services, next part is the main part where we will create this workflow between the client server and client again. So we need to install a package for that. So package is installed in src folder. So if you see here, I'm already in ROS2 WS folder. So I can simply list this and go to this folder. If I'm in any other folder, for example, let's go back. I can access this folder directly here. cd src. You will see I have all these packages installed over here. In case I'm in the main folder, you can see I'm in the main folder now. There is nothing written in the directory. So what I can do is that I can write cd and ROS2 space src. Okay. So simply you have to write this command to make sure that you are inside this src folder. Then we will press enter. We will write ls. ls command is not mandatory. It is just recommended to see all the packages that we have over here. So when we write ls, so we have created this package already for us and we have already finalized it. Now the next step, as I told you, that we will be creating the client server and then server sending information back to client. So we will create that package. So how do we create package in ROS2? It is very simple. Just tell ROS2 package create and then define build type AMENT. We have to tell. Now, the interesting part here is that previously we used CMake. Now we will use Python because Python is used for creating these codes over here. I have actually explained this in much more detail in my previous video, so you can watch that. CMake is, just to give you a rough concept, CMake is usually used for most of the stuff in ROS2 because that is compatible with a lot of languages. This Python is used only for creating these packages, for example, publishers, subscribers, and now we will be using it for this service. But if you want to go in more detail, you can see my previous videos or you can see some other lectures notes. Still, if you don't understand it, then leave a comment in this video so I can record this video and explain it to you in more detail. So we want to create this package. So we have defined a build type, Python, and then we have written calculator. Let's name it service. Once again, you can name it anything. You can just simply name it addition project, summation project, whatever you want to name it. I just want to be consistent because previously I named the other package calculator interface. So now I want to use this calculator word as a generic word of this project and create this service extension with it. This is not extension, sorry. This is just a full title. Calculator service is just full title of this package. So I will press enter and it will create this package. I want to see it. So I will write ls. So it must be somewhere over here. So you can see calculator service file is not file, packages created. I want to access this folder, calculator service. So we will be inside that package. Let's write ls and see we have all these files over here. So you can see package xml setup.python. Files are slightly different than the previous file. Now, what we need to do is that we need to create our client and server, right? That is what we are doing. We have client, it sends two numbers to server and then server responds. We actually have two main files that we want to create and do coding for it. So one of them is server, another one is client. So when we are inside this folder, you will notice that with the same name, we have another file over here. So we need to open that. The first one represents the package. The second one, which is inside that, this represents Python module. So we need to access that folder and create our Python codes over there. So you can see over here. Don't get confused in this. The first one, this represents Python package. The second one, this represents Python. So just write ls and see what do we have here. So it is actually empty with some with one file of initialization. So now the step is to create client and server. So let's proceed with creating server. We can create client, no problem. You can create server, whatever you want to create first. It's not a problem. But you have to create these two files. One is for server and the other one is for client. So how do we create file? I already told you we have to write nano, and then after that we have to write the name. So let's name it as calculator server. And remember to add this extension to tell it that this is a Python file. So when you write this file nano command followed by its name with extension, you will get this empty file over here. This will be created. Now the job of server is that it will receive A and B, and then it will calculate a plus b and give the answer. Now we will do programming for that. Previously, I also explained the coding for this. So you can see over here, we will be doing step-by-step coding here. But just to give you a brief review of the previous videos, when we create this Python file, the code is actually divided into 4 parts. The first part is always to import the libraries. You will see RCLQI. This is the first part, and it's very easy. From this RCLQI dot node import node. Okay, and from calculator interfaces, we created this custom file, right? So we created this custom package for services, right? So we have to tell it that go to this package, calculator interfaces.srb, and there we have a custom service with this name. Import that for us. So be careful with spelling. Once again, add two ints. So this is the first part of the Python code. Second part is the main part, and in this, what we need to do is that we need to define the server node. So let's define it. You can define anything you want here. So, but I will keep things simple. So let's define it as calculator server, and then we have to write node in this. Okay. Remember that this n should be capital over here as well as here. When I was learning ROS 2, I used to make this mistake a lot. So I'm already telling you not to make this mistake. Next is to initialize it, def init hashtags, not hashtag underscores self. And then after that, we will add a callback. I'm just going to type this. Wait a moment. Self request, because this is what it is. It is going to request the numbers, right? And then respond. So this is actually the second part of this Python code, and after that there is a third part where we define main args is equal to. Then we have the fourth part, which is if name is equal to main. So this should be like this. So these are actually 4 parts. So if you notice, this is the first part, import libraries. Second one is for class. Third one is define main args is equal to none, and this is the fourth part. So if you can remember this structure, programming this file or publisher or subscriber previously, it becomes very easy for you. So now what I will do is that I will simply fill these information. So I have defined a class that is calculator server node. So after that, I will come over here, define init and self. Inside this, remember that inside this, so you have to be consistent with these tabs also. So you have to be consistent with tabs, and inside this you have to super initialize super init, and then name this anything. You can name it. Once again, it will be displayed to you when you run this code. You can name it anything. Calculator server, I will name it like this. Let's add this as well, display calculator server display, or whatever you want. You can write anything in this green text over here. Now the next step is to create the server. So self dot service, define this. It should be self dot create service. If you recall previously when we were creating publishers, so we used to create publisher over here. So it's the same setup. These up until here, this code remains the same in most of the codes. This is also the same one, but previously we were creating publishers. Now we are creating service. So I just changed the name, self.service. So previously it was self.publisher. And then we have this command over here. Now we have to tell the service the information that it must have. So the information is, we have to tell it the type. It is ints. Previously, in one of the videos, we used string, integers, and all that stuff. But now we have created our custom service. So we will directly tell its name over here. And then we have to write this add two ints. Let me add display as well. We will see if it is displayed to us. And after that, self dot add underscore. So if you have created publisher, you will see we used to add timer over here. So now we will program this add callback. This means the addition to be performed inside this next command of add callback. So the first initialization is done. After that, what we need to do is that we have to do this response sum. If we define this, it should do this request.a. It should obtain this information, right? Request.b, it will obtain this information from the custom service that we created. And then self.get logger info. And then we have to fill this info. What do we want to display over here? So that is actually straightforward. We have done this a lot. So F received, okay, and then anything written without brackets, this is displayed as it is. And if we want to obtain or receive some information from the previous part, we have to add this brackets over here. So first one is request A, so it will be displayed over here. What will be displayed over here? The value that client will send plus request dot b, okay, is equal to another bracket response dot sum. That's it. And then this should return the response. So this was the second part, this code that we have been doing for server. Just to give you a recall once again, we will have 4 parts. First one, import libraries. Second one, define class and all this initialization and callbacks. Second one is main, just to tell ROS2 that we have this code running, so you should work on that. And the fourth one, this is so far what I have learned, this stays the same in all the code. Now in the third part, what we need to do, we need to tell this ROS that wake up, we have a command or we have a code running, so you could perform it. So perform the simulations programming. So command for that is rclpy.init, args is equal to ars. Then we have to tell it about the node. So this name should be same as we wrote up there. So calculator server. Then next part is rclpy.spin. So this is used to make sure the code keeps on running. And if we want to stop the code, so for that the command is destroy. So far I realized that these commands also stay the same throughout this publisher, subscribers, and now servers as well. So the third part and fourth part of this code and the import libraries, this part is more or less the same in all the codes. The difference that usually is in the code is that appears in this second part, but that is also simple, right? First you have to define a service, then tell it about the customs service that you want to call, then name it, and then add a callback. And in the callback, you have to do this, in the callback, you have to perform this addition. So if I have not made any mistake, hopefully this code is okay. The mistake most likely that I may have made is that of spelling mistakes or sometimes the tabs mistakes. So you have to be careful about 2 mistakes. One is spellings, another one is the tabs that we add over. But I hope there is no mistake. We will see later on. Let's save this. Control O, enter, Control X. If you want to see this, if you save it successfully, you simply have to write command before this and it will print the file for you that we coded. So now the next step is to create the file for the client, right? So once again, it is very easy, but before that, we want to see what files do we have in this Python module. So you see, this was already here, and we created this server file. So the next step is to create server. Server is already created. Next step is to create the client. So we simply have to write nano creator client.py. Py is important. We have to its extension to ROS2. It will create this file for us. So what we need to do here is that, or the concept behind this file is that client will send two numbers. Let's say a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, or it can be any two numbers, and then wait for the summation. That will be 30. So once again, we will import the libraries. So import this, import RCLUI. Okay, by the way, this system import, this is the first time we need for this ROS2. Previously, we did not need it. I will explain this to you later on. Why do we need this sys file? Let's proceed with the code first. So import RCLPY. Then from RCLPY.node code. Then we had this custom interfaces SRV. From this, import this is the first part. I told you the structure is divided, or the code is divided into 4 parts. First is to import libraries. Second one is about class. So this is calculator. Previously, we named it as server because that file was for server. Now we'll name it as client. So calculator client node. Next step is, I think you already know this, define init self, right? And inside this, we have to super initialize super init and then name it. My terminologies might not be accurate, but conceptually they are correct. So super initialize and then name it. So previously we named it as calculator server display. So let's name it as calculator client display. I'm writing this display with it to make sure whether it will be displayed at the end or not. This is a question for you. What do you think? I already discussed this in the previous code. Whether it will be displayed as it is or not, you should already think about that. Now, inside this, next step is to create client. So previously we created a server. Now we will create a client. So self.client is equal to self.create client, right? So it will create the client. But inside this bracket, we need to add some information. The information is about custom service that we created. And then this name, add two ints. Now you may notice that this add two ints, this is same as that in the server file, and it should be same because that's how they will communicate with each other. If they are different, they will not be able to find each other in the environment. Once this is done, after that, what we need to do is that we need to write this while not, this is very important, self client dot wait for this s should be small service. I will explain this command to you. Just let me complete it. 1.0 double dot and then self get. Remember that whenever you want to log the information, so this command is self.get logger is brackets dot info and then this bracket. So in the second bracket, whatever you write, that will be displayed. So this part is actually for waiting when the client will not be sending any information, or the server will not be sending information. This is added for that part of scenario. And that's it. So first part, import libraries. Second part, define class, and in that we do this initialization. Next is to define send request, because that is what the client will do. It will send a request. Self, comma, A, comma, B. Now request, we define this request. This should be add to ints request. What should it do is that request.a, this should be equal to A. Request, if you recall, we use this request.a and b in the server Python file. Request.b, this should be equal to b. For that, we need to add this command return self.time async request. This was the second part of this file. I told you we have 4 parts in this code. So first, import libraries. Second is to define class. And the third one, this is actually more or less the same in all of the code. So args none. First one is tell rclpy.init wake up. This is like wake up command for ROS 2. Wake up, we have a code. After that, call the node. So node is calculator client, right? And then there is a slight difference from the previous part. That is, you will see here, future is equal to node.send request. So here we will send the request. In the next videos or in the future, we will do a code in that we will not have to change the code and simply enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on our keyboard and the code will obtain those values directly. But here we will manually give these values here. So let's say we give these 2 values. So this command is used for sending the request from the client. Client is sending this request that A is 10, B is 20. Okay. And then rclpy.spin until future. This is the future that is of node and future. So we define this future here in this command. Okay. This will send the information and then perform this task. So after that, what we need to do is that response is equal to future result. That is what will happen, right? Otherwise, it will keep waiting. The future result. Now we need to not log actually, sorry. Now we need to log the information. So how do we log the information? Know this logger bracket info. This is the command for it. Inside this info brackets, we write a message. So let's write result. This result will be displayed as it is. You can add any text over here. And what will be the result? Result will be response. Okay, so I will explain this to you shortly. Let me complete this. So this response, this file will contain the summation. So next command, this response.sum will obtain the information from this line. Okay. So after this, if we want to close our simulations or programming, you name it, whatever you feel best. So we have to add this destroy command and rclpy shutdown command. Okay. And then the fourth part, this code, this is very simple. If name is equal to 2 underscores. I hope I've not made the mistake of single underscores in these codes. If this, then main. So this file is also completed for client. Just to give a brief review. First part is or libraries. Second part is code, this class file. Second part is this more like telling ROS that wake up, we have code and that is coming from Python and do this summation and all that stuff. And the last one is this name. So that's it. How do we save it? Control O, enter, Control X. If I want to make sure if it is saved correctly, calculator line.py. So you can see all the file over here. Print it as it is. Sorry. Now, let's see. We have these files. I want to go back to the previous folder, cd dash and ls. So we have this package.xml, setup.cfg, and then setup.python. What I need is that I need to add these two files of client and server that we wrote into this setup. So it can store that we have our new files over here that is for client and server. So how do we do that? I already told you with nano command, we can open any file or create any file or edit any file. So nano setup.py, this will open this file and also give us the option to edit it. So when you open this file, you will see we have a lot of coding done over here. You don't have to worry about that. You simply have to come to this part, this console script, and add the names of the file that we created. So we created server first of all, calculator server, this calculator service. Now this is the package name, remember, calculator service, and inside that we have created this server. This is main, right? And then we also created a client. So calculator client is equal to package name. So package name is calculator service, and then the file that we created is calculator client. Close it with main. Right. So these two commands actually they are very simple. We also did this in publisher and services. Publisher and subscriber. You simply have to add these files over here to tell this package that we also have these two files. So after that, save it, Control O, enter, and Control X. The idea is here that when we run the package in the server, this will call this file. So let me print this. There you go. The idea is that when we run the package calculator server service and we run this calculator server file, this will call the server Python file that we created just up there, and then that will perform the operation that we want it to perform. Now that this is done, the next step is, let's see what files do we have over here. So we need to edit this package.xml as well. To remember easily all the stuff that where we have to do editing, remember that the files in white, usually they are edited with our own commands whenever we create some Python file or some other coded files. So it's very simple. We will open this nano package.xml. We will see it is already coded over here. We simply have to add one file over here. Let's add it over here. Add it over here. I'm just adding these spaces so you can clearly see the command that I write. Depend calculator interfaces. I'm telling this package. Now this package is for calculator service, right? So I'm telling about this interface package to it. It should depend on. And simply save it. So Control O, enter, and then Control X. This is necessary because the Python code that we created here, so you can see we added this command. It must know that we have this custom service file. Now this package is also created. So after we create the package, we need to go this main folder or workspace. Then from here, what we need to do is that we need to build this. Build. Now I can simply write calculator service, but the problem is that it will build all the packages we have. In fact, what you can do is that we can select multiple packages over here. So we will tell it full build packages select. So we created this earlier, right? And we created this just now. We have these two packages. So I added two packages. If you want to build 3 or 4 packages, so you can add all the names over it. You can even create this calculator service directly over it. But I'm going to build this along with service packages because they are depending on each other. So I will press enter. If there is no mistake, it should build the files correctly. So you can see 2 packages finished in this time. After that, source, install the setup. If you remember, I added this client file, server file, the setup just now. So the packages are created, the code is completed. Now we will run the server and clients and see if we are doing everything correctly. So let's try this. There is one command for executables. I just want to see if it works. If I remember this executables, I forgot this command. I just want to see ROS2 executables calculator service. So, okay, I forgot this command. Let me see this command first. Okay, I've seen this. I made a mistake. I did not tell it the package. So ROS2 package executables calculator services. So you see here we have calculator service, calculator client file over there, and then we have calculator server file there. That is what we created. So once again, if everything is done correctly, let's run this. To run package name. Package name is calculator service, and then calculator server that we created. So if everything is okay, it should work. Now, this is appearing to wait. So this is fine because you go to the restaurant and the guy working there or at the counter, they wait for you until you give them an order or you request for a pizza. So this is waiting for the request from the client. So what we need to do is that we need to open another window and run client over there. So let me clear this. So first of all, I need to run this opt. I think if you don't run this, this is also okay, no problem. But I'm running it just to avoid any mistakes in this video that I am recording. Otherwise, I will have to edit a lot of parts in this video. Anyways, we write this command. And now the next step is that we have to run the client over here. So ROS2 run package name. The package name is service. And inside this, we created client. If patterns are correct, this will work. So it is waiting for calculator service, right? If you remember, we added this display information in the code over there. Now let me stop this part and see how do we get or how do we send this information of results A and B from the client to the server. So how do we stop this? Control C. This will stop the simulation or the programming because it is waiting for the service. Now, what happens here is that server, it is not displaying anything. It is waiting for the client. Client is also waiting for the server to respond to it because it is not performing anything. So think of it as, I think there is some minor mistake in code. Think of it as like that you go to a restaurant and they only have pizza, but you tell them, give me ice cream. They will just keep waiting for you, or they may order it from other shop for you or something like that. So let's see the services that we have. Make sure we did all the programming correctly. So what we need to do is that we need to write ROS2 service, and it should display us all the parameter over here. So it is displaying us this add to ints display. So this command tell us that the services, it should have this name add to ends display. So most likely, uh, I have written names incorrectly. So what we need to do is that we need to go to ROS. It's really okay. It is just a simple mistake, not mistake, a bug, I would call it. So this is the package that we created, and this is the module. You can see our file over here. So we have calculator client file, calculator server file. So let's print this file. So we directly print client over here. I just want to compare the codes. So if we open this server file that we created first, so you can see here that we created this initialization, we gave it this name, then we created a service with this name, add to ints display. So this is correct because we saw this over here. It should be in this way, add to ints display. So this is correct over here. Next, I want to make sure if it is same in the client file. So in super initialization, I have this name. And if you notice here, this is incorrect. So what happens here is that client is sending one information, whereas server is looking for another information. They are not same. When we were writing this part of the code, remember I told you that this should be same as that one in the server file. So what we need to do is that we need to edit this part and make this correction. So it should be same. I will just copy this to avoid any mistake. Calculator client. So you can see this is the mistake over here. And in fact, let's write it this way. How do we save it? Control O, enter, and Control S. So whenever you do this changes in packages, after that you have to build all the files once again, right? So before building this file, I suggest you to delete the previous log files to avoid any bugs. So that is very easy. If you see here, we have these files. You don't have to touch this folder. Remember, you have all the packages in this, but you can build all this log and everything. You can delete that and create it again. So how do we do that? rm-rf, delete this build, this install, and this log. Okay. When you press enter, it will be gone. You can see we only have this src. Now we'll go and build. Now I have to select the packages. Let me show you the packages first. So let's go to this src folder, list all the packages. If I do only Kulkun build, it will take a lot of time because it will build everything for all of these packages. But what we need is that we only want to target this calculator service and calculator interfaces. So I can do this Kulkun build packages, select which package, calculator interfaces, and calculator service. It will only target these two files. So I don't know what happens here. It's giving me some mistake. This should not happen. I think I did not save the file correctly. Let me see this. We can see this later on. I think I deleted this build, install, and log file, so that is why it is showing me these warnings. It is not doing anything. It is just giving me a warning. What I need to do is go back to the folder. I think these files are created. They are not created. So let's see if I'm making any mistake or something. We will find out that later on. Or let me confirm this file. Okay, there is a small mistake. I just noticed we have this build file over here. The file are mistakenly built in this folder. So I want to delete these files first to avoid any bugs that we may have. So how do we do that? rm-rf build log. So it will delete the files. Yes, it has deleted the files. Now I want to go back to the main folder of ROS2. That is where we want to have these build, install, and log files. Okay. you can see here we have src file right over here. Now open build packages, select calculator interfaces and calculator service. It is once again showing me this warning, but we will see what happens. Now I will just simply install the setup bash after this. Source, install, setup, bash. So it is telling me no file or directory exists. I will access the src folder again, list, build folder is gone, install is gone, install is here. So I also want to delete it. Let me see what mistake did I make. So I can simply press the up arrow. So rm, okay, I did not write this. Stop. It will be deleted now. You can see there is no installed folder or inside this. Now we need to go back. I will simply press the up key here, cd, and then build service packages. Once again, it is showing. I will fix this and come back to this video to avoid wasting the time. Okay, there was nothing much actually to do. These warnings are for my other packages because when I deleted that build, install, and log folders from the workspace, it deleted everything related to these projects there or related to these packages. So it actually has nothing to do with us, and it is just giving me a warning that your files are deleted for that. So we need to create Kulkun for all of the packages. So I don't want to do that because I'm not dealing with these packages. So what I did is that we can see in the src folder, we have these packages and we only targeted this for Kulkun, and then I called this ROS2 package executables. So we have these executables. Now what we need to do is that we need to run our code and hopefully everything will be good. So I will open new windows over here. Okay, this is already running, so I will stop it first and clear this window. I will also close this window. I just want to be sure that we have clean environment over here. Now we will run ROS2 run what? It should be the package calculator service server. So it is waiting for the client. For that, we need to open this next window here. ROS2 run calculator service package, and inside this package we have a client, and that client sends information. We added some 2 integers in the code, if I remember correctly. If everything is working fine, it will work fine, and we will see. We have, did you mean destroy? No. So the good thing about ROS2 is that it tells you the error that you may have. So we have error here in this file, calculator.client, and we maybe forgot to add in something in the setup. Calculator service, calculator line for 5 node.destroy node. So we need to see this file. But before that, I want to tell you that we already got this result, 30. We gave some numbers to it. So you can also see in the server, 10 plus 20 is equal to 30. So code is working. Everything is done. It is just telling us that we made some mistake in our code and that file is calculator client. So let's visit that file. This is just the extra stuff in this video that you want to see. So that's fine. Otherwise, code is working. So ROS2 workspace src calculator service is the package. Calculator service, again, this is the module ls. So we have these files, nano calculator client. How do I know the problem is in client? Because it told us over here, and it has already told us that, okay, you can see this spelling is incorrect. Story underscore mode, this should be destroyed. So when I press enter, I can go directly right over here. You can see here this Control O, enter, Control X. And remember, I told you, whenever you edit these files, what you need to do is that you need to build them again. So for that, you need to go to main folder, open, build, packages, select, calculator, interfaces. This is the first package that I want to build, and calculator service. This is the second package that I want to build. And you see, it is not giving me any warnings. So it's done. Everything is good, clear. My ROS2 server is still running. So I will just write here to run calculator service, run this package. It will ask me, what do I need to run? So calculator client. That client is sending information. We will see it is sending the result. So what happened in the background here is that this client sent two numbers. So if you recall, in this calculator client code, we added two numbers manually. In the future, what we will do is that we will enter these numbers from our keyboard, but that is other part of the coding. That how do we do that? For now, we need to understand this, that we have sent two numbers, and this calculator client, when we run this, this sends those two numbers. I think one was 10 and another was 20. It was sent to this server file. So you see here, it is received, 10 plus 20 is received, and it gave us the result 30. So when this 30 was performed, this server sent the information back to the client. So that's why we got this result 30. In order to explain this to you in using other numbers, what we can do, that we can open this SRC folder and then this service package, and then this we have this client. So what I will do is that I will change the numbers Python file of client. So if we go all the way down here, we added this 10 and 20 here. So let's say client sent some number 17, 50, 59. Okay, now we want to send these two numbers. So Control O, enter, Control X. Now, since we have modified this Python file, I told you what we need to do is that we need to go to this folder. Sorry, I forgot to add this. We need to go here, open, build, packages, select, calculator, services, and then calculator. Sorry, we want to build this. So calculator service and interfaces. We need to write the packaging. We are not accessing the folder. So this can be annoying sometimes, but this is what it is. We have to do this in ROS2. So the first package is calculator interfaces that we created. Second one is service. So it will only build that. After that, source, install, startup, back. Now, here I'm not changing anything over here. This is still running. You know, in restaurant, that guy in the counter, he's waiting for orders, pizzas. Okay, think of that example. Now we change the numbers. Sorry, I forgot already. I think 17 and some 50 something. What I need to do is that I will run. So calculator service this package. From this package, run this client. This client will send the numbers. So at the back end, we got this result right. But what happened at the back end? This calculator client sent those two numbers to the server. So we will see that now. You see, it received the two numbers, 17 and 59, and then added those numbers to get the result. Once the result was performed by server, it sent it back to the client, and we got this result of 76. So in the future, in the next videos, what we will do is that we will enter these numbers manually using our keyboard. So instead of changing the code or the client file again and again, what we need to do is that we need to enter these numbers from our keyboard simply by entering the numbers, and the code will update automatically. And then the numbers will be sent from client to server. Server will do the addition and send it back to the client. The concept is very easy. What happens is that client it requests. So what does it request? It gives two numbers, let's say 5 and 6. So these numbers goes to server. Server, it does addition, and sends it back, sends the result back to the client. So this is the concept behind using custom services in the ROS tool. So this was the first example. We can do a lot of coding and other projects, for example, for drones or football match and all that stuff. We will see that in the next videos. Thank you for watching this video. If it helped you, let me know. If there is any mistake in my videos, also let me know, because I'm also a beginner and learning ROS too. But I'm trying my best to share these videos with all those people who are also learning ROS too. So thanks once again, and have a nice day.